everyone, and welcome to the channel and part 2 of our Chibi Girls grayscale for It's All About Jade Summer. I am just going to work on our picture a little more today and see how much we can get done. It is Saturday, and I hope everyone is doing well and having a wonderful weekend. Things here are going okay. Gary's home from work today. He's just out in the yard getting some things taken care of. The weather's nice. The sun is shining. It's, I think, in the 50s today, and he really prefers cool weather, so that works out perfect for him. That's like super duper comfy weather for him. So he's happy as a lark out there. He has our pop-up camper all popped up, and he's getting some work taken care of on that. And I think he has been burning some yard debris today and just getting some things done around the house. He needs to start stripping down his Pathfinder that the transmission finally went out in. He wants to get that stripped and hopefully be able to find someone who might either buy it for parts or get it stripped and hauled off. There's a lot of places that will just buy the metal. So if he doesn't find anyone who just wants to buy that vehicle just as a parts vehicle, then that's the route he'll take. We had just put nice tires on the Pathfinder right before the transmission went. And I had told him, I was like, because this set of tires, I mean, we got a great deal on the tires, and they were about $500, but they were off, like more like the big off-road type tires, because that's what he mostly did with the vehicle, was used it for hunting and things like that. And we put out maybe about $550 or so on these tires, and then it was less than, I mean, it was a really short amount of time. He said today that he knows for a fact he didn't even put 500 miles on the tires. I don't think he came anywhere close to that, to be honest. And if he did, it was only because his hunting property was so far away, because we really didn't have it very long at all before that happened. And I knew it. I mean, we knew the transmission had been going out for a while, and he had needed new tires, and we hadn't gotten any because, we were really kind of wanting to see how long that transmission was going to hold. And then it seemed to be holding, and he's like, okay, we got to do something about these tires. It was getting dangerous. He didn't have a spare anymore because he had used it, and it was just a big mess. So yeah, that happened. And that's just kind of a par for the course kind of thing. So he's outside getting those kinds of things done. And I thought, I feel like working in the Chibi Girls book. And I thought, why not just go ahead and work some more on this picture, turn the camera on, and get some footage. So that's what I'm doing. I sat this morning working with my pastels. I went to Michael's and gotten some little storage containers, and I think they're made for, like, maybe they're plastic, and you open it up and it has several little containers inside of these, sealed really well, well, with really well seals, I guess, really good seals. Anyway, They're cylinders, they're round, and they're probably about that long, and there's like 5, I think, sections, and you twist them apart. And then there's a box that they go down inside of, a little plastic box that snaps shut. So I got a couple of those and got some blades for my X-Acto knife, and I was shaving my pastels over into these little containers because I thought that might make them a lot easier, to use and apply when I need them. I can just open it up and put a little tiny bit down into the lid and work with it that way for like backgrounds. So little by little, it kills my hands to shave these. So it's kind of been a little by little thing to get those done. I had a set of 36 pastels that I had gotten at Hobby Lobby. I think 36 count from another maker, and then a 64 count or something, 60 something count that I had gotten on Amazon. And so I got that done as much as I could this morning. So that case is full. I think I'm going to need one more of those cases to get all the pastels in. And then that'll be wonderful. I'll have all of those to work with, and they'll be right at my disposal. So it was nice to get that accomplished. Several days ago, I had started working on it one morning while we were just sitting and watching. Gary and I were sitting and watching TV together, and he was like, "Donna, I will pay you to stop doing that." The sounds of me scraping the pastels was bothering him like nails on a chalkboard. So, and I don't like the nails on a chalkboard sound either, but it didn't sound like that to me, but maybe that was because I was the one doing it. Sometimes things just irritate you. If you do it, it's not so bad, but if someone else does it, clicking a pen, oh my goodness. I've met people that if they have a pen in their hand, they're constantly clicking, either clicking the cap or, pushing the little button up and down that makes it come in and out, or, whatever. They're always messing with that. And it drives me nuts, absolutely nuts. So, I mean, I get it. I do get it. And I'm sure there's things I do that really crawls other people's nerves too. It's just the difference, I guess, between different people and different things that bother you, different things, that you're sensitive to or what have you. But it was nice to get that done. My Blick order came yesterday. Yay! And I was very, very impressed with their packaging. Very impressed. Recently, I had received some Happy Mail, and there was 2 boxes of 24 pencils and a set of Pebbles chalk. Those 2 boxes of pencils and the package of Pebbles chalk pastels were just put down into a envelope and mailed that way. And it was a mess. The the pencils, the tips were shattered, the tin was crushed on one side, and I was just like, "You've got to be kidding me." So she contacted Amazon. She was livid about, the way it arrived. And so Amazon did ship out replacement pencils, which was nice. And what was so funny was that, was it yesterday that the replacements came? Maybe it was day before yesterday that the replacements came. But, she had really give Amazon down the road about packaging pencils and soft pastels in an envelope like that for them to get damaged. You know, Amazon was all apologetic, and they were saying that they were going to forward it up higher to supervisor, blah, 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 blah. And I don't ever believe that crap when I get it in an email. I never have. I'm like, yeah, sure. But when the replacements came, those 2 packs of pencils in an envelope. Yeah. But the tin looked okay this time. The pencil tips looked okay. I'm just going to hope for the best, I guess. It's crazy. But when the Blick order came yesterday, you know, it was the 96 Blick markers, and the box that the markers are in is really not all that big, you know. When you say 96 markers or 100 markers, that sounds like a huge thing. But when you look at them, you're like, that's really 100 markers. So, I mean, it's not as big as it would sound. So it's not that big of a box. But when I open the door, there is this huge box sitting out on my porch. And I'm thinking, my goodness, you know, I've seen 100 markers before, and that's huge. So I bring it inside and I start to open the box, and I opened the top of the box and I was staring down at those big blow up, you know, things that they put in for shipping purposes, for protection. So there's a whole layer of this bubble stuff, not bubble wrap, but, you know, the big bubbles. And they're layered all across the top, and I'm like, oh, wow. So I removed the ones at the top, and in the center of this box sits the little box of the 96 markers, and it is surrounded all the way around by this blow up big bubble wrap stuff all the way around. And I'm like, holy wow. And I went ahead and lifted all of it from around it and took the box out. And then on the bottom, there was more bubble wrap, these bubbles that the markers had been resting on. And I couldn't help but think to myself, this is packaging. You know, this is what it is. This is where it's at, and this is how it should have been, you know, even with Amazon. So Blick apparently is very, very squared away when it comes to their packaging. So I was very impressed. I think maybe in the future, if I'm ordering like pencils, I am seriously considering maybe just ordering my pencils through Blick, even though I may, you know, have to pay a little more. I don't know. It would depend on sales and things like that, but it might actually be worth paying more to know that the pencils are being, you know, well cared for. Because it doesn't take a lot to shatter the cores of colored pencils. I mean, even the harder leaded pencils, the cores, you know, will shatter if they're mistreated, you know, and handled really roughly. And so I don't know, it might be smart to spend that extra money and know how your pencils are getting handled before they get to you. Now, granted, you can't control how those boxes are handled at the post office, but with that much padding, my goodness, the chances aren't super high that even if the box was bounced around and, you know, what have you, they would probably arrive in pretty good shape. So I swatched out the Blick Studios last night, the 96 count. I am still just in shock that there is so many grays in that set. Between gray and black, I think there's almost like 30 of those 96 are like grays and blacks. It's pretty crazy. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out exactly where things are because it just kind of gets blank back here in the back, and there's no real guide on this as to what I'm coloring. Okay, but there are some decent colors in the Blicks, I guess. One thing I noticed was that violet and purple, I believe, are almost the exact same. I don't see a difference between the two. For any of you that has the Blick Studio set, check and look at your swatches or markers or whatever you need to do, and tell me if you believe the violet and the purple are pretty much the same thing. And let me know, because that really shocked me that they would be that close together in a set like that, just the 96. And even though there's definitely some nice colors, there's some that I'm kind of about the colors. I don't like the pink that's in there at all. And I feel like it's lacking in a lot of the colors. It's kind of lacking. In my opinion, it would be very difficult to find a dark, medium, and light to do blending and things like that with. 2 marker blends, maybe. 3 marker blends, probably not gonna happen. In some of them, you're really not even gonna get like a 2 marker blend. At least I don't believe that the colors match well enough for that on some of the colors. I definitely thought it was lacking in browns for sure. I was not impressed with the browns in the set, and it's really, looking at the set, it was kind of hard for me to believe that Blick left kind of that much open like that. I don't know. I think the colors could have been maybe put together better, which makes me wonder if Blick definitely does have plans to release more markers for that set, because it's definitely, in my opinion, lacking. So I don't know, but there are some really nice colors. It does have sand, like, I love my chameleon sand. That's the skin tone. It does have sand. I think I still like my chameleon sand better. So I guess I still need to get that refill. I wanted to kind of wait until I saw the Blick, because I thought that maybe I would just get, Blick refills, refill my chameleon with the Blick ink, if it was close enough. But I do think I like the chameleon sand a little better. But boy, if you want grays, that is the set for you. It has, I believe, like basic gray, and I believe there's 6 of those. You have like basic gray 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's either 5 or 6. And then you have your warm, you have like a steel blue is what it's called, and really it's a blue gray. It's the only one, but it's called steel blue, but it looks more like a blue gray to me. So you might as well kind of count that as a gray. And then you don't have any other blue grays, you don't have any green grays or anything like that. But then it goes into your warm grays and your cool grays. And it has from 10% up to 90. So you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And I know a lot of sets kind of break those up. And I think what Blick should have done, in my opinion, is opted for maybe a 10%, a 30%, a 50, a 70, and maybe a 90. Something like that. I'm out of frame, guys. I'm sorry. But I think that it would have been nice if they would have not put all 9 grays like that. That way they could have added other colors. And I think, because I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, you know, like my Cali art is 100 set. It's only like 4 extra markers. But I felt like the Cali art had, you know, has maybe a better range of colors. Now, the new Cali art set that just got released, I don't like it as much as the old Cali art set that I had. You know, they took away some colors to add some grays, I think. But, and I think the difference is that most of those sets, they don't have 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 90%. They have different percentages, you know, broken up a little more. And that enables them to have more actual colors. So that was just my thought on those. But there are some pretty colors in there. And, I mean, I'm overall pleased with the purchase. So, I'm not complaining about that. They do seem like well-made, good quality markers. So, excuse me. And that's important. So, of course, colors are important too, but I don't know. It is what it is. Hopefully they will release more. I'm sure they will now that I have the set because, you know, I have full set syndrome, so of course that's going to happen. But we shall see. I received my Sergeant Art Supreme pencils that were on sale for like $19 the other day. I bought those. I received those in the mail today. I've opened them up and they look really nice. I haven't swatched out or, you know, anything like that. I just petted them a little bit. This afternoon I'll probably sit down and play with those a little. And I don't understand the way colors get put in boxes when pencils and things come out. I don't get it. You know, you have like your yellows and then you have your reds and all this. But then later in the set, you have a canary yellow. And it's like, what? Why is this yellow not up at the front with the other yellows? So if any of you guys can answer that question for me, that would be great. Because I kind of like to swatch the way the company has them. And then it bothers me when you have those little random things. You know, the Fila set seemed way off to me. I believe it was it the Fila or the Arteza? One of those, I felt like they were way off. I mean, way off. I can't remember which, but I mean, the colors were all nice. I just didn't like the way they were in the box. And so I had to like reorder put those in a different order for swatching. I had to have my yellows together, my reds together, that kind of thing. And I don't know if maybe it's based off of different hues, maybe. I don't know how they decide how to put those in those boxes, but it blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And it's probably just me, because, you know, color theory and all that kind of stuff just, it escapes me. It doesn't make sense to me. When I color, I go by, you know, when I first found, like, color tube, you know, I've been coloring and stuff all my life. I've been adult coloring for a while, and then I found color tube, and I started watching all these things and hearing about color theory and color wheels and all these things. So I rushed out and I bought myself a color wheel, and it is still right where I put it the day I came home with it. I've never used it. I don't really understand how all of that works. I know that yellow and blue make green. I know that red and blue is going to make a purple. I understand that kind of stuff. But when it comes to what tone, shade, hue, whatever all those different terms are, no. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm betting the way some of these pencils are ordered has something to do with those kind of things. But, I mean, I don't know. But that's the only thing I think it could be that would just really blow my mind and not make sense to me. But, when I color, I just try to picture two colors together, and I'll look at, you know, my swatches, and I'll think, do these colors look good together? And if I think they do, then I use those colors. I don't care what a color wheel has to say about those colors together. If I think they look good, then that's what I go with. I mean, how do you guys color? How do you decide what colors to use? Are you just going based off of what you think will look nice, or do you actually stick with the idea of color theory, complementary, and all those kind of things? Because I don't, for sure. I talked to my son today, the one that is in Iraq. Excuse me. He called, and apparently he did not even know that I had started a YouTube channel. I know I had invited his wife, and she, I believe, is even a member over on the Facebook group. But, you know, I guess that had never really come up in their conversation, so he didn't know. Because I had actually started, the reason there was a little bit of green already on the grass was because I had already started the video when he was calling in on the WhatsApp. And I just started the video, so I just stopped it and went ahead and talked to him for a while. And then came back. So he didn't know. He says that he's going to subscribe. He doesn't color. But that'll be cool, I guess, having him around. I guess I should watch what I say about him now, huh? Because you never know if he's watching. Just kidding, Jordan. He had asked me, he's stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina when he's stateside. Currently his wife's in Texas, and she's going to be moving to North Carolina, you know, hopefully before the deployment's over. And he wanted to know if he got me a plane ticket to San Antonio, Texas, would I be willing, you know, because his wife's got to get their car to North Carolina, and he wanted to know if he got me a plane ticket, would I be willing to fly out to San Antonio on that ticket and drive the U-Haul from San Antonio, Texas to Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's a heck of a drive, and I don't know. And he's like, oh, I know you can drive a U-Haul. The last time he saw me drive the U-Haul was when when me and him and his brother and his sister moved back to Atlanta from Savannah back in 2014. And I got on the interstate because we were the back roads that led to the interstate were really easy to drive. I was on those just for a little while, and then we got on the interstate, and I stayed over in the far right-hand slow lane, and I stayed there all the way to where you got off the exit to come to where we were living. And I was only on the back roads there for just a little while. Nervous as could be, I assure you. What was normally about a 3.5 hour drive, maybe 3 to 3.5 hour drive, took me about 5 hours to do in that U-Haul. 4.5, 5 maybe. I was doing maybe 50, 55 miles an hour all the way. And when I have driven from here to San Antonio, it takes me about 15.5, 16 hours, and that's hard driving straight through to get there. And if I'm doing that kind of time, if it's taking me 15 hours, say, and I'm driving, averaging 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, if I were to slow that down to about 50, 55 miles an hour, can you imagine how many hours? I mean, I'm sure some of you can figure that out for me. That would take to make that trip. Oh my goodness. And that's just like from here where I'm at to San Antonio. It's about another 5.5, 6 hours the way, just in a car to get to Fort Bragg, North Carolina area from here. So yeah, that's not a small feat. And that's what I told him. I said, I don't know if I'm your girl for that. And he's like, oh, Mom, I know you can drive a U-Haul. I was like, son, do you remember how long it took us to get to the Atlanta area from the Savannah area? Do you remember? Do you recall? It was not pleasant at all. So I don't know what to do about that. And of course I was like, well, if Gary can get time off work so he can ride with me, that way it'll be an easier trip on me and, whatnot. And he's like, well, that means I would have to buy 2 plane tickets. I was like, well, I just don't want to make that long of a drive alone, That's just a really, really, really long drive. I mean, it really is. So I don't know. I'll have to see how that works out. I mean, I want to help him out. I do. Don't get me wrong. But I have a lot of back issues that are going on with me right now. And I don't foresee those being, a whole heck of a lot better in, I think he's coming back. I don't know when she's moving, but I think he'll be back stateside by September himself. So sometime before that, probably July or August. I don't know. I personally don't think I could sit and drive like that. And it's like I told him, I definitely cannot make a round trip. Or not round trip, but a straight through trip. Because the times I have driven, like in my car, when I've had to go out there in the past, I drove just straight through nonstop. I just went ahead and got the, 15, 16, whatever hours. And just got them over with in one fell swoop. But there's just, there's no way. I mean, you're talking, oh yeah, you're talking probably a 27-hour drive in that U-Haul. Negative, Ghost Rider. Can't do that. And, that's what I told him. I was like, I would want to have Gary or someone with me. you know, for all that, and I would definitely have to stop in a hotel. And apparently her brother is coming out, her teenage brother, and he's like, well, her brother could ride with you. And I'm like, Jordan, I've never met the boy, okay? I've never met the kid. How awkward would that be? You know, that many hours, two people in a big U-Haul that's never even met each other with probably little to nothing in common, okay? He's like 18, maybe. I'll almost be 44 at the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't see... I just don't foresee that would be a very enjoyable trip for either one of us. And, you know, I'm like, that's just not right. But you know how our kids are. They don't understand a lot of things. And, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, I do want to help him. He's my baby. We love our kitties. Whew. So this video will probably be uploaded towards the beginning of next week. So tell me how your weekend was, everybody. What did you do this weekend? I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I know I want to get those pencils, the Sergeant Art Supremes. I want to get them swatched. I want to see if I think they're as good as I've heard they are. I'm going to cross my fingers on that. I had a set of Sergeant Art pencils that I had gotten, you know, just regular Sergeant Art that you see at like just Walmart and pretty much anywhere. I hated them. Oh my gosh. I did not feel like they had any pigment. And they were extremely hard. They really hurt my hand. How hard I would have to push to get any type of real color out of them. And I gave those to my mother-in-law. She hasn't even colored yet. I gave her all this stuff, books, the whole 9 yards, because she was going to color. And it's always, maybe one day. Well, I mean, she sat for a very long time and did nothing after her surgeries. And she never colored, so I don't know. But I gave them to her because she apparently really likes colored pencils. She's used, like, Crayolas. And I'm like, okay, if you can... You know, there's nothing wrong with Crayola, don't get me wrong. And honestly, I think these Sergeant Arts may have been a little worse than Crayolas. I don't know. But I was like, maybe she can make them work for her. But they weren't for me, that was for sure. And so I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I mean, just the name Sergeant Art was a turnoff when I first heard about these. But then after I watched some of the videos and reviews, I was like, well, it might be worth checking out. And for like less than $19, it was checking out to see, you know, what I thought of these and what I might be able to do with them. So I'm excited to try those. I'm beginning to wonder if we're going to end up having to have 3 parts to this video. My goodness. I mean, I wanted to do this on camera because I had some people comment that they would really enjoy seeing pictures like completed in videos instead of starting the video and then finishing it off camera. And I get that. I do. So I decided that if it was something that I just absolutely did not want to come back and finish on camera, that I would start putting the finished picture at the end of the video. But I know that still doesn't solve that whole, just, you know, the desire to see it completed on camera. So I've been trying to work on this one as much as I could here. It just doesn't seem like it should take this long to do a color. And I know some color pages take forever, especially if you're using pencils, so I shouldn't complain, but it just didn't seem like... Oh, I missed a flower down here. Did you guys see that? It just seems like, especially the grayscale, that you're not having to go back and shade or do anything to. Seems like it should be faster than it is. Yesterday's video was right over an hour, and we're at like 40 minutes, and we're at like half the page is all that's been done. I kind of wish I hadn't have went with the gray, this gray with the squirrel, because to me that's too close right there. I mean, it's cute, but it got a little close in color. It got a little close in color. And you saying, there you go again. I don't think that we'll do a third part to this video. I think what doesn't get done, I will just go ahead and finish off camera. Seems like an awful 3 videos. That's an awful lot to spend on. I'm not going to say to spend on a picture, because I've seen some video series takes a lot longer. I mean, I don't know. I just went outside the lines. I wish I knew if Nisi was watching. Nisi, are you watching? I don't guess it matters anyway, because I can't find... Here it is. Nisi, if you're watching, did you see how I went out of the lines right here? We were just discussing this the other day with blender pencils. Can you see where I went out of the line? And I don't know if this is going to work since this paper dries so quickly. But if you take your blender and you just kind of push towards that and work that alcohol, this is kind of what a blender pencil is intended for. You know, it's kind of like to lighten and erase. And it's almost kind of hard to see on the Jade Summer paper because of that black showing through behind the alcohol blender. But we're going to let this dry and see what we get, see how much of that it took up. But that's kind of the purpose of the alcohol blender. You can kind of push your ink around a little, which is nice. You know, which is nice. It's going to take a minute for this to dry so we can see what we got out of that. And I'll just kind of continue on right here, and then we'll look back at that in just a minute and see what happens. I'll have to remember to go tell Niecy to go to about 40 minutes in. So she can see that. And I mean, that's a great use for the blender pencil, but that is truly about the only true use. That's the only thing I have found my blender pencils to really be useful for. I don't want to zoom this back out until we look at that spot. I'm watching it. It's drying. We're getting there. But you know, you really can't tell anything on this Jade Summer paper until it dries because of that black background. So if you guys can't see what I'm doing right now, I'm really sorry. I'm trying. I've got it zoomed in pretty close for when that dries. We can see that. So I'm probably popping in and out of frame a little bit. It's almost dry, so we'll go ahead and take a look at it as soon as I get this right here. Okay, here is where it was. Can you guys see that? Where it was over the line. This is almost dry, and it may not completely clear up because generally a little bit of the ink is left behind. But it definitely lightens it to the point that it's not very noticeable. And that is really what our colorless blenders are best at, our alcohol colorless blenders. Do you guys use your alcohol colorless blenders? And if so, how do you use your blenders? What type of situations do you use your blenders for? That's the only real thing I've ever really used mine for, is to push ink back around when I go out of the line, to try to push it back into the line a little bit. But if you found other really useful things for it, I would love to hear what you've discovered. I was watching Grace's live feed yesterday, and some people were telling her about Jazza from Draw with Jazza. Do you guys watch Jazza? I love Jazza. He's my secret crush, okay? He's a cutie pie. He really is. And I remember when I first was looking, the way I found ColorTube, to be honest, was I always knew that you could find how-to videos on YouTube. and I was wanting to understand how to blend markers. And my YouTube search that day when I was like blending alcohol markers or whatever, one of the top videos that came up was a Jazza video. And at that point, you know, heck, I didn't know that Jazza was known for doing some pretty funny, crazy stuff on his channel, because I really didn't understand color tube or any of that. So I'm like, oh, wow, this guy's going to show us how to blend Copic markers. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I click on this, okay? And yeah, Jazza was putting Copic markers inside of a blender, like for real, and blending Copic markers. Oh, it was so funny. I was like, well, I thought to myself at the time, I thought, well, that's really stupid. That's what I thought. I was like, that's really stupid. And I backed down. And that's when I found Jennifer Stay and her Sharpie series that she had. And I sat and I binge watched Jennifer. And I didn't realize, you know, at that point with Jennifer was where my color tube started, with me watching color tube. And I didn't realize that shortly after that I was going to absolutely fall in love with Jazz's channel. And I watch most of his videos now. And they're generally short videos, so it's not, you know, you're not sitting through a whole lot or anything. His drawings and stuff are generally all speed draws, and that's fine, because I know it would take a very long time to watch him actually in real time do his drawings. But yeah, if you haven't watched Jazza, it's worth a watch. It's Draw with Jazza. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy his videos. And Grace had never heard of him. And she said that when her live chat was over that she was going to go look up Jazza. So I hope she found him, and I hope she's enjoyed him. And it was nice to be able to pop in to a live stream yesterday. It's not often that I pull YouTube up to watch ColorTube and anyone's actually live streaming. So that was really neat to have an opportunity to sit in there for a while. I got to sit through a couple of Kate's live streams. Kate's Coloring Haven. I think that's the name of it. Coloring Haven? Coloring Corner? I think it's Haven. So, I mean, I've watched a few of Kate's. And, you know, I've watched, like, replays of a lot of different live streams. But to actually be able to go in there while they're live, I don't get to experience that very often. I've done some of the live streams with Jennifer Stay. If I don't have anything going on Wednesdays, you know, and if Gary's working, if Gary's not working, then I don't keep YouTube on the TV if he's home. But if he's working, I generally watch Jennifer's live streams on Wednesdays. And they're always good. We are right at an hour again. Where does time go? These are my Touch New markers. Someone had asked in the other part 1 what marker I was using. And these are the Touch News. Cute, cute, cute. Now, where is the lid to this marker? There it is. Do you guys ever do that? That's why the stackable lids, they're amazing. I mean, I really, really like any kind of lid for markers that I stack. You know, that'll stack. And those kanji stack. So that was like, oh, yes. Of course, there was only like 40 something of them, and they were lacking in colors too. But for the price, they were flipping amazing in my opinion. And for the lids to stack was super. Because I don't know that we're going to hang around and do all of these butterflies and owls and all that. I just don't know that that's going to happen on camera today. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and tell you it's not probably going to happen on camera today. I think Gary has already came inside and taken his shower. And he would probably like to be able to get into his room. It was very kind of him to give me this time to film today. Of course, in defense of that, we did finally put a TV into the living room area after we completed the work on the Florida room or sunroom. My mother-in-law calls it a Florida room. I'd always thought of it as a sunroom. If there is a difference between a Florida room and a sunroom, will someone please tell me what that difference is? But she calls it a Florida room. So after we finished the work that needed to be done in there, she wanted, she really wanted use of that room. So we moved her big entertainment center and everything out there to the Florida room. And we put a entertainment console on the wall, or next to the wall, not on the wall. But we really hadn't put a TV or anything in there. And last weekend, I believe it was, we finally put the TV in there. We mounted it up on the wall. So there is a TV out there now. So he does. It's not like he doesn't have anything to do. He would be watching TV in here too. So I have no idea what color I would want to do these butterflies or anything. But no, it's gracious of him that he was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and take my stuff out to get a bath when I'm done. Because he was still going to work in the yard, but he came in to get everything that he would need. That way he wouldn't have to come in the room while I was filming. And, but I'm pretty sure I've already heard him come in and get his bath. Or shower. I definitely do not hear any of the work going on outside anymore. And he left the room probably about 2 hours ago. Was when he came and got his stuff out, because Jordan called and I talked to him also. And we've been filming for an hour. So it may have been close to 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. I think that's about long enough to keep a poor man kicked out of his cave, right? Because, I mean, even though we share this, it's kind of like our little cave. I have my corner of the room. He has his corner of the room. My corner's prettier than his corner. My corner has color. Oh, okay, is that the background? Yes. Whoops, goodness gracious, let's not do that. There we go. That's where we are. We have 3 butterflies, 2 little birds, and an owl that needs to be colored. And I need to take a break. My back is hurting. I need to rest it. And I really need to let him have the room also. So I am going to end this video for now. I probably will go ahead and just finish this up off camera, and I will attach the picture at the end of this video. If you've liked this video, please hit like, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, we would love to have you here. Welcome to my new subscribers. We are glad you are here. And to my subscribers who have been around a while, thank you for coming back. And until next time, guys, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye, guys.